Yeah. let's go ahead and call the meeting to order. This is December the 19th, 2013, the last meeting of the year. If you would, please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father, we thank you for this evening and for all those that are here. We ask that you be with all of our citizens, regardless if they're here or not. We know that we have a great city that we all live in, and that everyone worked hard to make it even better. We ask that we remember the real reason for this season, and that everyone be kind and gentle to each other, and just remember that love is the real reason for all the things we do. All these things we pray in your name. Amen.
I'd like to welcome everyone here tonight, our guests and visitors. As each of you know, every year, just around Christmas time, of course, we have an awful lot of Christmas trees that have the potential of filling up landfills, and so we have the bring one for the chipper day. Okay, so we have a chipper set up, and all the Christmas trees and so forth just get chopped up and used for mulch. So we have a proclamation here, and I hope that everyone will take advantage and have Christmas trees that they can get chopped up, bring them by, and we will make sure we get some usable mulch out of it. Whereas recycling reduces the waste stream, thus saving tax dollars and improving our environment, and whereas the City of Canton is committed to reducing the waste stream, thus helping the state of Georgia reach a per capita waste disposal reduction goal, and whereas the Keep Georgia Beautiful Foundation, the Home Depot, the Davy Tree Expert Company, and WXIA 11 Live Television are sponsoring the 23rd year of Bring One for the Chipper Christmas Tree Recycling Program. And whereas this program promotes the recycling of Christmas trees into usable mulch material and provides city residents easy access to drop-off sites. Now therefore be it resolved, I, Gene Hopgood, Mayor of the City of Canton, do hereby proclaim Saturday, January the 4th, 2014 as Bring One for the Chipper Day. So, I'm not sure exactly where is it going to be located. Do we know? You will be notified, I assure you. What's that? Yeah, just throw them in the park with that camera. No, don't really do that. We'll have some advertising and let you know. We'll be sure to let you know by the next meeting in early January. And it'll be on the website. Okay, we have another proclamation that we would like to give. We've had a group that have spent lots of hours and time cleaning up Canton Creek, I've got tons of garbage out of it, and really improving that sector of our environment as well. And we want to thank them from the City of Canton for their effort there, because as you know, that Canton Creek comes right through the heart of our town here, and so we need to make sure that it is kept as clean as it possibly can. I would ask if you would, those that are here, and it's quite a number, just you come right over here to the left, stand up. I'll read the proclamation, and maybe we can get a photograph. And, we should be. I think we get all of us in there. So let me get that proclamation. If you want to, yeah, just come right over here. Now, did all y'all work on this? Good. Well, I understand you did an awful good job, and I think some of that effort is shown in this proclamation. So let me read this now. Whereas the City of Canton Mayor and Council wish to recognize the Rivers Alive Canton Creek Monitoring Group for their cleanup efforts of Canton Creek on Friday, November the 15th, 2013. And whereas this is the second year that the Rivers Alive Canton Creek Monitoring Group conducted the stream cleanup, and the city of Canton appreciates all their efforts to improve water quality. Whereas a total of 25 bags of trash and 18 bags of recyclables were collected during the Canton Creek cleanup, plus items that were not bagged. And whereas among the items that were collected during the Canton Creek cleanup were 420 glass bottles, 209 plastic bottles, 190 food wrappers and containers, 158 plastic grocery bags, 210 lottery tickets. Y'all check it out? 210 lottery tickets, 114 styrofoam pieces, 110 cigarette butts. Get those up. You need to be congratulated for that. 6 batteries, a telescope, 2 Freon tanks, 2 computer monitors, a bottle of perfume, a mailbox stand, and a knife with a decorative sheath. Man, it's amazing what you'll find out there. Therefore, the City of Canton Mayor and Council wish to express appreciation to the Rivers Alive Canton Creek Monitoring Group for their cleanup efforts of Canton Creek on Friday, November the 15th, 2013, and encourage them to continue their commitment and dedication to the community. We really thank you very much for what you've done there. Let's lean in a little bit here. Okay. Everybody can smile. Okay. All right. Okay. When we go. All right. Okay, who's the caretaker of this? I guess I better get it. I think she must have been the coordinator of the effort. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I will entertain a motion to consider the approval of the agenda. We have a motion, hang on, do we have a second? We have a motion and a second, yes.
I'd like to ask that item 9E under old business
Any objections to those? What that one is the authorization to sign the contract for the restroom facilities. One of the reasons that I think it might be important that we do that, and I'm not sure everyone is familiar, but that contractor is the same contractor that's doing the work here in City Hall. And right now, the contractor is sort of late on the job, or going to be late on preparing the council chambers.
We've also only the sole bidder.
Also,
There was another bidder.
Oh, there was 2, weren't they?
Yeah, but it was so far apart, it didn't make any sense.
That's true, that's true. And we may very well end up rebidding that. I'm not sure yet. We may do it, since we only got 2 bids. Yeah, okay. All right, let's, put that on hold to at least the next meeting. All right, any other changes you'd like to make? Okay, if not, then, we have a motion and a second. Will your motion include the change that we have incorporated? Okay. Any other discussion? If not, those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. All members voting for the motion. Thank you. Mr. Huffman is out of town, I understand, so he's not here tonight. Okay, you have in your agenda package the minutes of the November 21st, 2013 council meeting. Do we have, are there any changes, corrections to make to that?
Motion to approve.
Have a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
Abstain, not approved.
All members voted for the motion with exception of Mr. Cummins, who was not here at that particular meeting. You have also in your package the, just for informational purposes, the financial reports for October 2013. Are there any questions or comments regarding that? Okay. If not, we'll move along to the public input period, and we have one of our former members here to make some comments. Ms. Tanner, welcome. Not church, you didn't have to sit in the back, you know.
I started to bring a whole stack of papers, so you all would think you were gonna be here all night with me, but, Mr. Mayor and, other members of the, Canton City Council, thank you for allowing me this opportunity to come before you this evening. I stand before you this evening to say goodbye and to offer my heartfelt thank you to our outgoing council members, Mr. John Beresford, Mr. Bill Bryan, and Mr. Bob Rush. You three gentlemen have served this city well, and I do appreciate the fact that you always put Canton first and did all you could do to elevate the city of Canton. You have attempted to do great things for this city, some successful and some not. It is never easy to be a servant of the people, but you always serve with integrity and can leave this dais with your heads held high. Mr. Beresford, a special thank you to you for all your hard work and due diligence towards the completion of the new Etowah River Park. I realize that the council as a whole had to work together to achieve much and many of the accomplishments with Etowah River Park, as did councils before you. However, Mr. Beresford, you took the lead role for the past several years, and we're almost at the finish line. I do regret that you will not be here when the line is crossed. But I trust that the city mayor and council, when this project is finally completed, will recognize you and other councilors who were diligent in the ways that it took to bring this park to fruition. Thank you again, gentlemen, for your service to our city. You've had your critics, of which occasionally I was one, but you've also had those of us who've appreciated you and the service you gave, and prayerfully will continue to give to the city of Canton. Thank you, Mr. Rush. Thank you, Mr. Bryan, and thank you, Mr. Beresford. May all of you, Mr. Mayor, council, and all present here tonight have a blessed Christmas and a happy New Year.
Okay, under old business, the update on the Etowah River Park. Mr. Beresford?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Things continue to progress, although we did have a major setback this past couple of weeks with all the rain. The fact is that there was no flooding, but we did have mud, which slows up, and once again, we have to look at a pushing date back just a little bit, but not bad. The amphitheater is on site. It's going to be erected pretty soon. You'll start seeing that coming up. The concession stand, due to the cold weather, had to be stopped because of the concrete trying to get the walls up. But that should be right back in place again. The playground area is moving right ahead. We've got the pads down for the nice big boulders that we have out there for that. We're ready for the ramp on the other side of the river, but we kind of held it up because we needed to wait and see what the situation with the trail coming along. But the pads are down and that's ready to go. But the big problem there is that the way to get in has been muddy, and can't bring in some big trucks that we need to bring in to get a lot of that equipment on site over on that side. As soon as it gets in a situation, I think I'll talk with Mr. Wood about having going out there and maybe kind of smooth out some of the ruts and get that set. We can get that equipment in, get the materials down there and get that set up and started work on that. The concern continues to be, we have a lot of sightseers that are coming on site during the day. It's still a construction site. There is equipment moving around, and there is a concern of safety. So far, we have not had any problem, but you don't want to mess around with that. So they're trying to monitor it and keep it, but we hate to just tell people get off the site because they're probably excited about what's going on down there also. But we're moving ahead, and it's coming out of the ground. The grass is coming up, the trees are in, and things are looking good. So I hate to leave it.
Thank you, Mr. Beresford.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
on the Edgewood Park, Mr. Beresford and I had a discussion about his possible volunteering to continue through on that project, and I will intend to bring that up to the new council when we, after they're sworn in, to recognize not only all the effort he's already put into it, but that they should utilize wherever possible the valuable experience he has relative to that park. So I will be making a recommendation to the new council to try and utilize Mr. Beresford's services. He's volunteered graciously to continue wherever he can help and do that. And so once that council is sworn in, I intend to make that recommendation.
I'd like to make one comment here, because I was gonna suggest something along those lines, actually, because John has been so involved and dedicated to this thing, and I think that it would be a great idea if he's willing to do it, to allow him to continue to, I don't know what the word would be, the representative, liaison, overseer, whatever, communication, because he knows more about what's going on out there probably than all the rest of us together. So I think that would be a great idea for the new council to do. I hope that they will allow him access like he has been in and out and working with the contractor. He's done a fine job, and it's so close to being finished. I can see it from part of my property, and I look at it almost every day. The lights are on now at night too, some of the lights in the parking lot. It's kind of neat, but I would just hope that you guys would do that, and if John cares to continue on, because it's been a real passion of his. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, both of you. I'd love to do it. Actually, in the park budget, I've already put in there my fee. Which would be $0, because I would love to do it. I would love to be able to follow through on it, and I would appreciate it if council takes good consideration on doing that. I'm ready to go and see it to the end and just bow out. But as I've always done here at this council, when it becomes with the issues, I bring it to council and ask for approval. And that's what, I would have no authority, so that's what I would do. I'd love to do it. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Item B, under old business, discussion of stage rental policy. Once again, this is, has raised its ugly head, and basically, part of the problem is that we had a policy, I thought, then it come up, someone needed to use the stage and needed to do so without paying for it, and I guess we didn't have a clear definition of what a city-sponsored event was, or something probably, or what that would be. So, in essence, we've had at least 2 events now since that time that are not paying for that. So, I'm assuming that we have no policy at this time that we can really identify.
Mr. Mayor, what,
we do have a policy, but nobody follows it. I think the real problem is that, as you mentioned, nobody knows which events are officially sponsored by the city. Even though the Christmas parade is sponsored by the Optimist, it's at the city's request. So what I think we should do, or the city should do, is that Mr. Wood, someone under Mr. Wood's staff should make a list of every event that's city-sponsored, First Fridays or whatever, so that when someone comes to rent the stage for another event, then we'll know which events are city-sponsored and which are not. And once that list is made up, those are the only ones that get it free. And then the rest goes by the policy. But the problem that I see with this is everybody wants to use it, but nobody wants responsibility for it. And there's no one here to take control of the stage, and no one budgets for it, no one budgets for repairs, no one budgets for transportation. The road department, the public works department doesn't have a proper truck to haul it. I mean, I asked Mr. Kanjemi last week, how much would it cost for a truck? And he says about $42,000, the proper size truck to haul that stage. Right now, they're hauling it, and they're not hauling it safely. So our people are in unsafe conditions.
Sure.
I think I made a suggestion in an earlier meeting, and I think it would help us after this budget year. It doesn't necessarily help us this budget year, but as part of the budget process, we establish a list via invitation for requests that we may take from the library or from any other external agency for funding support. We establish that list of those people who would be included as city-sponsored users, and we put a corresponding amount of money in the budget. That issue's in resolve for the balance of that year. You're either in the budget authorized or you're not in the budget authorized, and it's pretty self-evident then. That just does not help us get through the balance of this fiscal year. So probably what we're gonna have to do is continue to do what has been being done, and that is take them on a case-by-case basis as they come to you. But I think we can resolve it longer term. It's just the short term where we've had the problem.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. All right, item C, discussion and motion for budget amendment to transfer $10,000 from Public Works Department for maintenance and delivery of mobile stage for 2014.
Back at the same issue, in speaking with the Public Works Department a while back, they said they're gonna need about, I think it's $3,500, $3,600 to make repairs that are needed on the hydraulics on the stage right now. And what this is, because no one has budgeted for the usage of the stage for this fiscal year, that's why I just arbitrarily picked the number of $10,000 to put in the Public Works Department budget so that they don't get burdened with this, because every time they haul the stage out, it's on overtime. And then they have to pick it up on overtime. So they're getting billed for it, but they don't have the capability of budgeting for it themselves. They need to be told how many times it's gonna be used. So this is just a means of putting money in their budget so they don't look like they're running over budget because they're doing something they can't budget for.
So you're asking this come from contingency?
Contingency go into their budget, yes.
Okay.
Is that a motion?
That's a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
One comment there, now that that's been publicly stated and on the record that we don't have a truck to haul it safely with, I'm not sure if we ought to be hauling it anywhere until we get the right truck. So I'm not sure if we ought to be transferring any money around, or if we ought to park the stage until we got the proper equipment to properly and safely haul it.
Okay.
I was under the impression that we did have a truck, the 350, and we had a 350 that could haul it and safely haul it.
It hauls it, but not safely, not according to Mr. Kanjemi.
There's a little bit of a rhetorical exaggeration, I think. Not from Mr. Rush, but from others. We can move the stage. We've been moving the stage for years. Now, what's the definition of safety? We don't have the maximum truck to use it, Mr. Cummings, but we have an adequate truck to move it.
Oh, okay.
In my opinion.
I think that discussion was had some months ago. The point was, when we have to take it down to some, out of our city limits and get it out on the highway and stuff, which has happened,
Which we're not doing anymore.
that was where the issue came up. In city, we're pulling it around in the local area, not very far, and it was okay. So that was the issue, I think, that we needed a bigger rig at that time. So I think what we've got the 350, it's adequate, it moves it here where we need it, mainly downtown or the park, and we should be okay.
Okay, so we have are you okay for that, then? Okay. We have a motion and a second on there that we initiate a budget amendment to transfer from contingencies $10,000 for the maintenance and or repair of the portable stage there. Yes.
Will this require 2 readings? I was told that it might.
I think it will.
If you did it as an ordinance, I really would like to start doing these as resolutions, but it's an
Okay.
ordinance. It will require 2 readings.
Can't change the name because it should be, all we're doing is moving money from one fund to the other. We do not have to have an ordinance for it. All he has to have is paperwork. So if you want to change your
If we
motion,
can
call
make
it.
it for a resolution, that's fine.
Maybe.
I was just told it had to be an ordinance.
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
Right, bud?
So we're not amending the budget then. Budget is an ordinance. If we're amending an ordinance, it looks like a text amendment.
No.
Well, ultimately, we've talked about this before, I mean, at some point you have to do an ordinance. The question is, do you do a collection of resolutions and then do a final one-time ordinance? Or
Yes.
you do each one as an ordinance?
We can do it, I don't mind a resolution if that's what you want to do.
I don't care what we do as long as it gets done.
State dictates that you gotta have a paper trail. And it doesn't say it's gotta be an ordinance. It could be a motion, it could be a resolution, it could be anything, as long as you have the paper trail. And our CFO has the documents to do it, and then, as Bobby just said, one shot for all the none.
Well, it's written up as an ordinance right now, is
Change
it
it.
not?
Change it.
Whatever, I mean, we got a motion and a second as a resolution for the transfer of funds from a contingency to the Public Works Department specifically for the purpose of maintenance and for maintenance of the portable stage. Is that pretty much it?
That's pretty much it.
Okay. Anyone else have any comments? If not, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. All members voting for the motion. Item D, action on recommendation for bid award and authorization for mayor to sign contract with Atkins, Etowah River Park to Heritage Park Boardwalk Construction Design. This is the pathway from the other side of the river from the park connecting to Heritage Park. And this is specifically for the design work only.
So moved.
Have a motion, have a second. Any other discussion?
Question.
Yes, sir.
Notice on here, the time frame is 3 weeks. 3 weeks starting when?
3
As soon
weeks.
as we approve it tonight?
As soon as we gave them the go-ahead, yes.
So tomorrow we can get it.
Listen, you know, I said this to the mayor, 3 weeks is 6 weeks, and if we gave it to somebody who wanted 6 weeks, it'd turn into 12 weeks. But the meter will start as soon as we give them the contract award.
Great.
Okay. Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? All members voting for the motion. Okay, item E, we withdrew, so we go to new business. Action on renewal of speed detection device permits. Mr. Wood, you wanna mention that?
I think if there's any explanation required, but as we explained in the letter, this is an annual authorization from the State Department of Transportation for those streets which they authorize us to conduct radar on. We've got 4 others that we will be adding as soon as we've got some other additional information compiled so that it can be submitted. Those other 4 would be Northside Cherokee Parkway, Northside Drive, Bluffs Parkway, and the section of Highway 20 in front of Canton Marketplace. Those are not included on the list. We hope they will be included soon. but, you're asked to approve the list that was submitted to you tonight, so we can get that to the state by the end of the year, which is when our permit expires.
Can I just ask a question?
Yes, sure.
Generally, only today, I sent an email to all of y'all, one of our constituents, chronic speeding problems on Jeanette Street. It's my understanding that that street is just not eligible for radar for some reason. That's mandated by the state, according to the police chief. I just wanted that to be on record that if we could do it on Jeanette Street, we would. But the police chief tells us we can't.
Chief, is that,
Oh, he's here. I'm sorry.
yeah, is there, is it the distance, the, degree of slope, or?
I actually spoke with Ms. Kitchen, she's the one that raised the issue about getting an eye added on to the thing. What I told her on the phone today was that, you know, I'd have to look into it, but I believe because of the slope of the roadway, if it's greater than 7 degrees, we can't run radar and laser on that road. But that would have to be verified, and that was something I'd have to work with Joby on.
I believe it's greater than 7, I believe, right
Could
there,
I ask one?
far in.
I hear Bluffs Parkway on there, is it?
No.
That's it. That's what I'm saying, I would think the slope there would be much greater.
Now, it's actually Reservoir Drive. We have authority right now to go on Bluffs.
So how do you catch speeders on those roads that you can't just?
It's top secret.
I gotta know.
On the roads we're not authorized on, we cannot go out there and legally enforce the law. So if we were out there and we were to conduct a traffic stop on somebody and it lead to an investigation into the car, the confiscation of maybe illegal drugs, it very well could be suppressed because legally we can't go out on those roads we're not authorized and run radar or laser.
You can pace them.
What'd they do before they had radar?
You pace them.
Pace them.
You can pace them.
I had some conversations with Lieutenant Rivas, and there's a number of streets that we need to look at that are not on the permit, but for right now, all we need is the existing permit renewed so that we can continue to do what we've been doing. And like Mr. Woods said, we can go and look at adding those additional streets on later on down the line.
All right.
But we'll bring it back before council.
You have a question?
No, motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. All members voting for the motion. Item B, recommendation to authorize extension of Riverville Livable Initiative and authorizing the mayor signing of the resolution. This is the section down here off of Railroad Street, principally that area down there, one of the first sections that was the where they had the Livable Centers Initiative there, and you got that wall and all that upgrade through there, and you want to explain any more on that?
Well, just that is an enterprise zone
Yeah.
area, and what that means is, if you don't already know, what that means is that property owners there can qualify for certain property tax abatements at a sliding scale, provided that there's, I think, 5 jobs created or maintained and certain improvements to the property. I'm not sure exactly what all the requirements are, Matthew, I'm sure could tell us if we needed him to, but the matter is, the truth of the matter, that enterprise zone has largely has existed for 10 years, and there has been no one that we have a record of who has taken advantage of those qualifications.
Or the tax abatements.
The abatements, right. I've talked to Matthew about a way for us to better market, for lack of a better term, that area down there. And he is prepared to try to do so, but he didn't want to take that initiative on until we knew whether or not council wanted to apply for an extension of that designation. But he is prepared to write letters to each of the property owners explaining to them the potential benefits and options if we want to maintain that designation. But we've not taken any initiative in doing so. It's largely lied dormant because the truth of the matter is I don't think there's anybody here who was here when the designation was awarded, and some of us probably didn't even realize that it existed. Now that we know, I think we can take a lot more initiative than has been taken if if there's an application for extension of it. But again, we didn't want to try to undertake that initiative until we knew what council wanted to do about applying for the continuance of it.
Well, Mayor, for my money, that it doesn't look like we've done anything there, and that area, as far as, from my point of view, would be a great retail shopping area, because we can't put much retail or any other stuff in downtown. There's not much place to do it with all the attorney offices in there, but that would be a great spot. But if we're not gonna market it and try and get somebody in there that's gonna bring the place alive, there's no point in keeping the enterprise zone.
Well, even if I think the idea would be to market it as much as we could, but even if we didn't take a strong effort, we're not harmed in any way by having it, certainly. It's probably, you know, if it's there, if you need it, even, you know, looks like.
Thank you, Mr. Ware. You and I agreed on that. And make a note on that, just as last council, so we can go out in agreement. But you're absolutely right. It doesn't cost us anything, but we should not give it up. It's critical, and things are gonna come back. It might be another year or two, but we wanna be primed, ready to go. I think we should keep it, and it is a great incentive, because we got the opportunity zones, enterprise zones up the bluffs, and we got these other areas, so let's make sure we kinda keep this thing in there. So I'd like to make a motion that we
Approve the extension of the enterprise zone.
Yes.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. All members voting for the motion. Item C, recommendation to authorize reimbursement to Waste Management for 1 year of overpayment of franchise fees. These are fees, and Waste Management actually discovered themselves, I believe, that they had been overpaying on some of their franchise fees. It's recalculated wrong some way, and the city, our finance folks agree that what they say is correct. And therefore, we're authorized, I believe by state law, since it's a fee, to reimburse 1 year. If it had been taxes, you're authorized to reimburse for 3 years. And you correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I understand. So what we're asking for is the council to concur that we should reimburse them for the fees, overpayment of fees for 1 year. Mr. Canton?
Motion to authorize reimbursement.
We have a motion, we have a second. Have a second. Any other discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, it would seem to me that if Waste Management has told us that they've overpaid for 3 years, that we should pay them back for 3 years. I don't think, I mean, just because we can get away with only paying for 1 year, they've been good to us, and they've done a lot of things for the city, and I really think that we should repay them all the overpayment, because it's, you know, they made a mistake.
I don't know whether we're actually authorized to go beyond that or not, but Mr. Baxter, you have a question?
Well, I'm in agreement with Mr. Russ. We have the tours program, that we were one of the 5 cities in the United States that they were able to come in and give us a program. There's a lot of things they've done for us. And I know that when we went out for bid 4 years ago, they came back with a sharpened pencil and saved the city about $180,000 in renegotiating that contract. So we want to be good partners, and I don't know legally what the issue is here, but if we owe them, I think we should pay them the money's due, and versus ducking under the umbrella of saying, oh, we can't do it. But I would have to think long and hard if I was Waste Management, if I wanted to continue working with the city. That's in my opinion.
Mr. Goodman, you got
I'd like to withdraw my second.
Okay. Okay. Well, no seconds now.
What's the dollar amount?
About 115,000 if you do 3 years, and a third of that, I guess it would be roughly for
What? Oh, okay, I'm
make a motion.
Okay.
Unless you
Any
would
other
make,
discussion? If not,
Well,
It's been with-
no second.
There's no second, second's been
Okay.
withdrawn.
motion
I
dies.
make a
for lack of
motion that
second.
we, honor the overpayment of $114,220.53 and pay them.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to reimburse for the 3 years. Now, I would ask the question, are we sure that's all that, is that all the years?
Well, what I would ask council to think about is if we were going to be reimbursing them $25,000 or $30,000 for 1 year, that would be one thing. If you're thinking about going back 3 years for $100,000+ number, you might wanna think about an audit. I mean, because that $150,000 is based on their reports. Nathan, have you got a take on that? You know, we could spend $10,000 or $12,000 on an audit for 1 year, and it may or may not be worth it. But for a $100,000 number, have you got an opinion about that? I'm putting you on the spot a little bit, but.
No, an audit would be quite involved.
Be quite involved. So is it, I mean, are we certain, without any question at all, that what they're telling us is absolutely correct?
We owe them the $114,000.
With certainty, no. We're basing our information on the returns that they have provided to us. We have not audited and requested lists of their customers and gross. We do have gross revenue amounts, but we have not audited and looked at tax returns.
I would just encourage council to think about, before you pull the trigger tonight on sending somebody a $114,000 check, that we have a greater level of certainty as to the accuracy of that number. If that's what it is, fine, but I'm not sure we have that right now.
Mr. Scott?
I have a second ramification, only Mr. Dyer can answer this, is we know that the difference was between whether it was we'd be liable for 3 years or 1 year was based on whether it was a fee or a tax. The question that I have, does it dictate that that's what we are to do, or that is the maximum liability that we would have? If it dictates that we're required to do this, are we violating some requirement by doing differently by doing 3 years?
I don't know the answer to that without thinking about it. I don't remember exactly what the statute says, whether, I'm sure it says required to as opposed to may. But I've never thought about what happens if you wanna do more than that.
Then I'd like to request that we withdraw, that the motion and second be withdrawn, and that we further look into this, to look at both A, are we 100% certain we owe it, and B, that we are doing what we are legally supposed to do. I don't disagree with paying what we owe, but I think we should know what we owe, and that we adhere to the law, whatever it may be, relative to that reimbursement. So I request that the motion be withdrawn and the item postponed.
Mr. Bryan?
Okay, I would agree that it needs to be looked into further. I was assuming that we were certain and in agreement that that was the right amount. I would encourage everybody to think about, I always like to look at problems from all sides. Well, what if the shoe was on the other foot and we discovered they owe us $115,000? Would we be willing to just settle for a year, or would we be aggressively going after 3 years? I think what's good for the goose, good for the gander. Those people have been good to us, and if there's been an honest mistake, this city does need to honor that and set that right. And surely there's no state law preventing us from giving them extra money. I mean, I'm sure the law says that we can't or don't have to do more than a year, but I don't know.
What it will do, I think, is, I mean, whatever we do here, if we do the 3 years, we're gonna set a precedence for anything in the future, for sure. And if we are within our bounds to do 1 year by law, and then I don't think we'll be able to do that the next time.
if we overbill somebody, if it's discovered and confirmed that the city overbilled someone for water usage, our code requires, I think it's a 6 months, or is it a year, 12 months? 1 year, okay, one year, if somebody overpays us for water, or if we underbill them for water, it goes back a maximum of 1 year, correct?
If we've underbilled them, we go back 1 year based on our code, and on the other side of the coin, we've set precedents, we refund it. If we find some way, for example, that we bill sewer we're not supposed to, we've refunded it back.
But it's only a year, I'm sorry.
Only a year.
But that's water, this is the statute we're talking about, and I think the statute would apply also if we determine they had underpaid. I think we can only go back a year as well.
Say,
Mr. Mayor.
Ms. Bryant had a question.
Well, I think it's been answered that would work that way, so that kinda leads me toward just a year. But, I don't think we're gonna decide tonight, so
Okay.
not my problem.
There's still a motion on the deck here.
Well, he
Yes,
actually made a
there it
motion,
is.
Mr. Cummings made
We're
a
still
motion.
discussing it, we get,
Well, he's made a motion to table it, or to postpone it.
postpone it or the original, whatever.
Well, you moved to
Have to act
postpone
on
it.
that one
Yeah,
first,
but
though.
we have to get a second, but then.
now, do we have a second to postpone it?
So,
Have a second to postpone it, okay. Those in favor, unless there's somebody wants to discuss the postponement. I don't know if that's allowable or not, but, those in favor of postponing it, raise your hand. Okay, those in favor of, not postponing it.
Raise it.
Raise your hand. Okay, it is postponed.
I think I still have, Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Based on the documentation, my motion was based off of the fact that I had a letter from Mr. Wood that said that in it, Mr. Ingram has reviewed and concurred with the claim amount submitted. Now, to me, that investigation was done, it was looked at, studied, and said it was due, just for the record.
I appreciate that, okay.
Well, it's,
All right, next item on the agenda. Okay, action on resolution to adopt the updated 5-year short-term work plan. Mr. Wood?
You will recall some prior discussion about this, as we mentioned in our management letter, there will be opportunity if the mayor should choose to call for some other work sessions and public hearings to further update this, but in order to comply with the state law, to have this plan as it currently exists, we need to have it in by December 31st. So what we're doing is asking you to authorize submittal of this plan tonight. It'll be submitted by the end of the year, and then after next year, the new council and the mayor want to revisit revisions to that plan, you're certainly free to do so.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve? And a second. Motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. All members voted for the motion. Item E, action on resolution to adopt the annual updated capital improvements element and 5-year short-term work plan impact fee program requirement. Ditto, okay. Any other? Do we have a motion to approve this?
So moved.
A motion, we have a second, okay. Any other discussion? If not, those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no? No, okay, everybody voted for that. All members voted for the motion. Item F, recommendation to designate Shaw Hankins as city health insurance broker. Mr. Wood, I don't know if you want Nathan to talk about that, or have others?
Nathan, you want to speak to that? You sort of led the review team or interview team.
The city of Canton requested proposals for broker services on the open market. We had 7 proposals submitted. We went through in committee and chose the 3 brokers that we felt would best fit the city of Canton and its needs. We interviewed 3 brokers. We tried to, at least I can say personally, I tried to keep an open mind, did not try to necessarily
anyone that's had service with the city before. I try to keep a very open mind about it. And we based our decision on what we felt would be the best for City of Canton, the best service, and the best cost. Although choosing a broker right now does not alter the cost per se. The brokers work on a commission directly from the carrier, so it's, for right now, our costs are not going to change. When we choose a broker will go to the market and try to obtain the best premiums from different carriers, and that'll occur in January and February. Right now, we're just choosing the broker that's going to handle that service for us for possibly the next 3 years. But we selected Shaw Hankins would probably be the best fit for the city of Canton right now, provide the services that we are seeking in that capacity.
Anyone have any questions? Comments? Okay. Do we have a motion that we designate Shaw Hankins as our city health insurance broker? Have a motion? And a second. Any other discussion? Not, those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. All members voted for the motion. Thank you, Nathan. Of course, you have Mr. Wood's letter, management letter, and you have other items you want to bring up?
Maybe just a couple of things quickly, Mayor. You brought this to my attention yesterday, and that is, in the friends in the media may be able to help us some with this, the traffic backing up at exit 19 in the afternoon. It was literally, that's a long exit ramp too, but it was literally backed up out onto the interstate yesterday in the 5:15 range. If there's a way that the public, that anybody who's traveling at that time of day anywhere east of Canton Marketplace would be better served to get off at exit 16, go 140 to the new Northside Parkway and cut through that way, and they wouldn't have to sit in that almost dangerous back up onto the interstate. So again, if there's some way to get that message out, I talked to Chief Merchant today about the possibility of being able to post our message board out there, but I don't know if the DOT will let us do that on the interstate or not. But anybody traveling east of Canton Marketplace in the afternoon is going to be much better served by getting off at 16, going east on 140, cutting through on Northside Drive. Marietta Road contract problems, I mentioned to you in the management letter. Fortunately, since that letter was sent, have been resolved. And you want to do that now? And then we mention.
No, go ahead. I was going to do that.
I just going to offer a little localized twist at this particular time of the year. It's our last council meeting with some of our council members, period. It's the last council meeting of the year for all of us, and it's the last council meeting before Christmas. And I thought in the spirit of Christmas, we'd offer a little bit of a localized twist on that classic poem, "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." So if you'll indulge me, 'twas the night before Christmas, and down at Canton City Hall, staff was scurrying to finish projects, both large ones and small. The renovation of the big room was well underway, wishing the new council could use it come swearing-in day. Mr. Ingram was collecting money and paying all the bills on time, like he typically does, responsibly managing every last dime. Joby West was working on projects such as Marietta Road and the Main Street Connector, handling details only he knows. Chief Merchant and his staff were working night and day to keep us all safe and those up to no good completely at bay. Patrolling all over town in those lit up new Tahoes, making sure that this Christmas the bad guys are kept on their toes. Chief Floyd and his staff remained ready to go should they spot on the horizon smoke or some fiery red glow, which might not be welcome unless, as everybody knows, the glow happened to be coming only from Rudolph's red nose. Megan Griffin was politely handling her many Main Street chores, keeping her fingers crossed that Pat Gold wouldn't pile on anymore. David Hagan was managing the Hickory Reservoir and Lake while constantly monitoring to be sure the dam doesn't break, and also upgrading our sewer treatment plant and pumps so nobody's pipes would back up when they need to take dumps. One thing this council agrees on, and everybody should know, when we press on that toilet handle, the stuff must have somewhere to go. Dave and Jimmy's staff was putting up signs and picking up leaves and trying to see how many citizens they could possibly please, and keeping clean all over town the countless storm drains, cause, in case you haven't noticed lately, there's been plenty of rain. While on the bottom floor of City Hall, at the foot of the stairs, Camille was fiddling with computers and managing software. Matthew Thomas was working vigorously to see what he could possibly do to attract another business to Canton, or possibly two. Mr. Patton was poring over another ordinance or code, because let's face it, ordinances and codes are two things he knows. Judge Rhodes was presiding over municipal court, handling traffic and code cases of all types and sorts, while Mr. Dyer was preparing another scholarly brief to protect us from lawsuits and aggravation and grief. Miss Stanton was, as always, dutifully at work doing all the important stuff she does as city clerk. And then there was City Council. After their courteous greetings, debating what final action they could adopt at their very last meeting. Reporter Jill was there from the Ledger, and Josh the Tribune, hoping before it even started that the meeting would end soon. While Mr. Goodwin remained calm, trying hard not to rage because council refused to give Santa free use of the stage. And afraid that Canton news might not reach the North Pole, Mr. Beresford made sure that even the reindeer had been told, and not in any way possible left in the dark about all the progress being made at Etowah Park. While Mr. Huffman and Brian just kept sitting and grinning since their Christmas came early and Auburn kept miraculously winning. Relishing proudly his council nickname last call was Mr. Rush, who helped loosen regulations on opera. While Mr. Cummins was offering another in-depth analysis, which fortunately didn't leave Santa with brain paralysis. Santa's sleigh ride was hopelessly deficient, but Mr. Cummins' plan would make it much more efficient. And then Santa said, now listen, I'm getting too old and already too fat to put up with a bunch of fussing about first this and then that, so just remember, Santa said, in 2014, I've given you some new members for your city council team, so some matters can be evaluated fresh and anew by members like Mrs. Grand Rust and Ms. McGrew. Meanwhile, Santa said, I'll make certain all the regulars are back, like Andy and Leon, Richard, Carol, and Jack, and the many others who come, usually with no angry axe to grind, or at least Santa thinks that's the case most of the time, but just to be safe. Santa left an additional gift, should there develop a furor, a ruckus, or a serious tiff. Officer Gavala, who was ready to put his training to work, should some nutcase show up and suddenly go berserk. And then as his reindeer grew restless to fly away, before all the snow dust melted from this magical sleigh, Santa left one other gift. Before getting ready to go, he made sure Mayor Hopgood still had his veto. So after the ho-ho-hos and as he flew out of sight, Santa said, now remember the meaning of this season tonight, and know that Miss Claus and I wish to one and all a very Merry Christmas down at Canton City Hall.
Of course, everyone knows now that we have 3 council members, so this is their last meeting. And I'm sure it's not goodbye, but so long. And I'm sure they'll be back sometime, some of them perhaps too soon, but they will be back. And I wanted to say that, you know, to say that we disagreed on a number of issues would be an understatement of the year. But I wanted to say that these guys, when it came to putting their money where their mouth was, they got involved. They didn't just sit on the sidelines. They got involved because they wanted to do something for their city. And I think that they have demonstrated that over the past 4 years, or in 5 as far as Bill's concerned. He's been 1 year longer. And I want to say thank you on behalf of the city and me personally for your efforts. We didn't always agree. There's a lot of times we didn't agree. We agreed some. But it wouldn't have been fun if we hadn't. If we'd agreed every time, would it? But I do want to thank each one of you for your efforts, and I hope you will stay involved in the future. I know some of you, may feel you need a rest for a little while after the last 4 or 5 years, but I think you all have the city's interest at heart and are sincere about wanting to help this city as you have attempted to do in the past few years. So we just wanted to give you a little plaque so you can hang it on your wall, and every time you're feeling good, you can look at this and start feeling bad, okay? I'd like to ask Bill to come up if he would, and basically very simple, it's just a sincere appreciation to Mr. Bill Bryan for 5 years of service and leadership on the Canton City Council, January 2009 to December 2013. Bill, thank you so much. Mr. Beresford? Sincere appreciation to Mr. John Beresford for 4 years of service and leadership on the Canton City Council, January 2010 to December 2013. Thank you for what you did. Read this one too. It's just like it, except it says Mr. Bob Rush, you know. Sincere appreciation to Mr. Bob Rush for 4 years of service and leadership on the Canton City Council, January 2010 to December 2013. Bob, thank you so much for your beginning January 2nd, we do have some new folks that will be coming on. Sandy McGrew is here, John Rust, and that's right, I believe Bill Grant is the other one that will be coming on now. I think he was not feeling well this evening. So we'll welcome them in January, but now thank you all for being here, and thank you for your efforts that you have given and your energies. And it was mentioned what you've done with the park, John, that is, we can't thank you enough for that. Thank you. Okay, we will at this time entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor? Aye. We are adjourned.
Mr. Bryan?